Good evening. This is Maestro Cortello with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite modcast. Today we have a 3v3 on Valderus Refinery. Our first player today is Sir Topi, playing as the Techmarine, the Space Marine ranged commander. He can become a melee commander later on with an axe. He also supports vehicles well by repairing. He can also build turrets and a relay beacon. His first teammate is Field Marshal Yarrick. Yarrick is playing as the Commissar Lord. The Commissar Lord is a slightly tanky melee hero who also does some support and buffs, like by executing his troops to make them fight harder, or using some of his aura accessories. Finally, on the blue team, we have Max Power, playing as the Force Commander. Don't think I've seen him play as anything else. Force Commander, tanky melee hero. This is also, surprised I never make any kind of Diomedes or Diomedes reference or joke. He's playing as Captain Diomedes. We have him. Alright, on the red team, starting us off is Indrid, playing as the Plague Champion, capturing this point, crouched with his bolter. He's got some stinky bolts in his bolter that do damage over time. Starts out as a ranged hero, can become a melee hero. He also repairs, can support vehicles, although he does not have repair global, and he's weird. Anyway, we have CJOKER as another Plague Champion, also a ranged hero. You might see different builds out of the two Plague Champions. And then finally, we have Ace of Swords healing up back up at base with his Chaos Lord, a tanky melee commander in Terminator armor, who has some area of effect spells as well as some pretty good tier 2 weapons. So we have a 3v3. I know I've been doing a lot of I haven't been doing a lot of team games lately. I've been casting a lot of 1v1s. Can't even get my words right at all. But this will probably be the last 2.1 game that I will cast. Unfortunately, whenever there's a version change, there are quite a few games that are just going to inevitably go uncast and just slip through the cracks, fall through the windows, whatever. Additionally, I mentioned in my last cast that I'm going to start being a little bit more busy, so I may not be uploading as much. I may still be uploading, since I can always just start uploads before I leave to take care of my business. But just no guarantees, no guarantees. So it looks like the blue team came on the winning side of the early engagements. Yarrick choosing to double up a bit on Indrid, even putting down a multi-laser turret in the middle. A curious place for a multi-laser turret. I'm surprised to see... Yeah, I mean, usually multi-laser turrets are kind of like opportunity builds. They're not really used in the same way that Techmarine turrets are. You'll often do it something like put it on top of put it in front of a victory point or any kind of point to kind of deny that point, or put it in near a generator farm to help with a gen bash, usually to get a full gen bash off, especially since when combined with a sentinel and guardsman repair, usually it can still be pretty tough to dislodge the multi-laser turret. But the multi-laser turret's purpose is to do damage rather than to suppress, and also give you staying power because you can repair it. Alright, but looks like the red team players are responding by doubling up a little bit on Yarrick and Max. Basically, Indrid called out too, and we see that CJOKER responded. But I mean, if we see this turret is still up. This turret, they couldn't even take out that turret until getting everyone forced off, and that's because a turret, a multi-laser turret, actually functions a lot like a sentinel, but basically just like a sentinel that you can't move. But it can still have the same effect of a sentinel of not bleeding itself, not bleeding you, not bleeding itself, while bleeding your opponents, forcing them off, and you can just repair it right there. Looks like the blue team's going to be able to punish with a little bit of a gen bash, forcing off both Yarrick and Max Power. Max Power has gone for a 1-1-1-1 build with Space Marines. He's got his Devastators. Where are they? They're all the way in the back, but he's initiating with his Assault Space Marines, and a bit lucky for him that Indrid has double grenade launcher heretics. I'm somewhat surprised to see that, and he probably wanted that to deal with the Imperial Guard. Double grenade launcher heretics is very, very good against Imperial Guard, but he's not directly in a lane with Yarrick. He's actually directly in a lane with Max Power. So, although that will be very good when he has to fight Yarrick, he will find himself having a little bit of trouble holding back Max Power's Assault Space Marines, unless he decides to invest in a melee Plague Champion. And then even then, he would definitely have an easier time if he still had one melee Heretic. Over here, it looks like Ace of Swords is winning his lane, though. He's still playing... He's just playing... basically just playing a one-on-one in his lane against Sir Topi. And Ace of Swords has gone for a pretty light Tier 1 build, and I think the Chaos Lord has a bit easier time doing lighter Tier 1 builds than the other Chaos heroes, just because of how much he does, how much staying power he has, and how much fighting power he has, to be honest. Right now he's idling. He should be either... I mean, he's kind of low on health, but he should still be coming back to help out and support, because as it is, Ace of Swords is just fighting in a not very effective way, running his Raptors in, getting them jumped. I'm not getting them jumped, getting them blasted by shotguns. And it looks like CJOKER is coming to support at a time when it probably isn't terribly necessary. For the most part, it's just Sir Topi over here with with Field Marshal Yarrick, only kind of having one unit. As it is, it looks like Yarrick... Yeah, Yarrick is still pretty much over here with his heavy weapon team as well as his guardsman squad, so it's still pretty much Indrid getting doubled. And then I guess on the other side, CJOKER and Ace of Swords are doubling Sir Topi. And this Chaos Lord has actually managed to stay on the field despite having not too much health. Oh, it's because he has he's got the Dark Halo, so he doesn't necessarily need health because he can use energy to soak up damage. It's something that's very, very good. In a way, I almost don't even understand why they have all these energy shields on these already tanky melee heroes who can already be tough to deal with and already very tanky, even without having one of those shields. But when you just kind of throw it on top, oh, Techmarine stops walking. Just kind of got just, I don't know what he did. He just lost his way. But Field Marshal Yarrick went for a very light Tier 1 build, did not even get a Sentinel, and the consequence of that is that he's already in Tier 2 and getting out and has a Manticore. So the Manticore is something that it's very, very powerful in team games. In 1v, it's still very, very powerful in 1v1. It's one of the best setup team counters in the game. It can be very good against Chaos because Heretic squads can die from a single Manticore rocket. Not a single barrage, a single rocket. And then the Chaos Space Marines are actually very vulnerable to the Manticore too, since they aren't terribly fast. Usually you will still get hit even if you try to react to it with Chaos Space Marines. And they can usually bleed like 1, 2, or even 3 models from a Manticore strike. So the Manticore is pretty good against the relatively slow Chaos army. Very good in teams in general. In 1v1 it's good, but it's also kind of a risk to reward thing where it's made of paper and your opponent really has a better chance of actually taking a Manticore out in a 1v1 game, as opposed to a 3v3 game where usually it can get, because of the claustrophobic nature of 3v3, oftentimes it can be just way too hard to get to a Manticore. It's just there's just too much stuff going on. You can't sneak a unit back there. There are other players around just in case you actually force off the IG players' squads and other vehicles. And shotgun scouts are infiltrated, but just walking into way too many things. They've been partially revealed just by bumping into things. Fortunately, this Devastator is in a really bad position. I think this Devastator is going to get wiped. Max Power just not paying attention. Now, again, these Raptors, I mean, overall, they're not really as good as ASM, but they do more damage. So they're going to be better at actually wiping a Devastator squad. So if your reactions are a little slower, you can actually lose a Devastator squad or any kind of suppression team against these Raptors. And now, meanwhile, we have Indrid being a little too forward with his Raptors, about to get them disrupted by Assault Space Marines. And then down here, we have more stuff going on. Field Marshal Yarrick is starting to get definitely a very powerful ranged squad for himself. He's got double guardsmen as well as a stormtrooper squad. The Stormtroopers, he has so far not gotten any kit on them, and he may be waiting to see if he needs to put the anti-armor kit on them, while still using the already high DPS that comes out of them just in their vanilla mode, or their vanilla mode. And we have a plasma cannon from Max Power. And I believe Yarrick, at one point I saw him queue up the plasma guns, but he seems to be actually saving it for now. He probably should get those plasma guns. It's going to increase his DPS quite a bit against pretty much every one of his opponents, since they're all playing against power armor races. Everyone on the red team is using power armor, or is playing a power armor race and has at least 2 power armor units. In fact, they all have exactly 2 power armor units. And I like the use of that Plasma Cannon Devastator at roughly maximum range to take out that shrine. I mean, there's not much you can do about that Plasma Cannon Devastator if it's shooting at your shrine, other than actually disrupt or tie up the Plasma Cannon Devastator. And that's going to be a big commitment, trying to go all the way forward in front of something like a Force Commander with a Power Fist, as well as some Assault Marines. Looks like we're going to have an engagement over here. Ace of Swords choosing to get a Blood Crusher. I often talk about the Blood Crusher being a very situational, time-critical unit. It's also a unit that I feel is less useful in teams than it is in 1v1, since you just have more players and more potential AV sources, since the Blood Crusher often capitalizes either on your opponent having no AV, or your opponent having only 1 or 2 sources of AV that can be tied up. In a team game, you can potentially have teammate AV to help you out, especially something like, well, if Yarrick actually had a Sentinel, that's something that could very easily switch lanes to help out, to offer some AV support. Looks like Ace of Swords is doing pretty well in his lane, but now he's going to be facing down a Dreadnought. And we already saw that Sir Topi has that las cannon as well. So it looks like Sir Topi is going to push him back a little bit. Plague Marines for Ace of Swords, snaring that Dreadnought a bit, but unfortunately they're getting tied up. So it's actually Sir Topi who's in the position where he's having... Sir Topi is actually tying up Ace of Swords AV while being oppressive with his vehicle. And of course he does have the better vehicle as well as the better AV, to be honest. And Sir Topi is really pressing really hard. Oh, but he's going to lose the Techmarine, unfortunately. The Chaos Lord definitely beats that Techmarine quite handily. Now, Sir Topi needs to turn around, go for the Blood Crusher with the Dreadnought, stop attacking the Chaos Lord. Although he does have to worry about the Plague Marines, which actually need to turn around, yes, and shoot. Okay. Now over here, it looks like we have a Manticore Strike going on. Let's see how juicy that is. Alright, actually mostly misses, and Indrid retreats the stuff out of there in time. Again, that Manticore Strike can be very potentially deadly. And I mean, you might even want to get an Aspiring Champion, even on Grenade Launcher Heretics, to even help yourself survive those Manticore Strikes. Again, because one Manticore Rocket can wipe out a Heretic squad. I think the Aspiring Champion has will just give you some slightly higher survivability there. Although it is definitely paying for something that you might just lose anyway. Sir Topi now doing very well in his lane, but still has to be careful with his Dreadnought. And oh, we're going to have, I think, a Blastmaster shot. What is that going to take? Goes for the las cannon, which is smart to take. That's to dislodge Sir Topi's AV, and that's going to give his Blood Crusher a lot more free reign. In fact, it's probably going to be the Space Marine Dreadnought that's going to go down here rather than the Blood Crusher. These two vehicles have been going at it, and it is very interesting to see that a Blood Crusher, I mean, this is something that I know, but just something to point out, that a Blood Crusher with support and then taking advantage of the speed of the Blood Crusher as well as worship can actually be used to beat basically better walkers. But again, you can't do it alone. Certainly a Blood Crusher, you need the worship support along with some kind of support AV. In this case, we had Plague Marines for Ace of Swords. These are actually CJOKER's Plague Marines, but we also had Plague Marines out of Ace of Swords. And now we definitely have Yarrick with some pretty powerful range damage. As it is, his Commissar is in a little bit of trouble, but he still has He's now got guardsmen. Both guardsmen have been fully upgraded to have 12 members, as well as having their plasma guns. Going to be very good, especially against ranged Chaos Space Marines with no mark. They will definitely bleed the ranged Chaos Space Marines disproportionately. Going to be doing a lot of damage, killing those models on the ranged Chaos Space Marines very quickly. Now, these ranged Chaos Space Marines, they don't have a mark. They do have Eternal War and their Aspiring Champion, but they're not getting that big 35% upgrade that comes out of getting the Mark of Tzeentch. Now, I don't know if maybe CJOKER wants to save up for a Mark of Khorne instead, or not even save up, but that he wants to get Mark of Khorne instead. But if he's just going to use range Chaos Space Marines, he should really get the Mark of Tzeentch, especially against 2 power armor players. And to be honest, even against the Imperial Guard, just want to have really high DPS against them. Since that Mark of Tzeentch upgrade is a 35% boost in raw DPS for the Chaos Space Marines. The other upgrades are not as big of an upgrade, while also being less versatile. But we got some kind of call-in. Let's see. I think going to be Terminators. Yeah, Assault Terminators. I called it since I just saw it was max power. Figure he's probably going to try to capitalize on Force Commander strengths. Now, unfortunately, he's up against double Bloodletters from Indrid. Double Bloodletters, believe it or not, I mean, they're certainly going to be doing a lot of damage to the Terminators. They don't have the health pool to stand up to the Terminators, but Indrid is wisely phasing them out of the warp once they start or phasing them into the warp so that they can become invulnerable. Needs to phase this one into the warp, yes, so that he can save his Terminators. Now, unfortunately, Indrid bled there without actually bleeding max power at all. But, I mean, just to show you that 2 Bloodletters with that power melee damage is definitely something that can do enough damage to Terminators. Now, Sir Topi has got a Melta on this Dreadnought, and he's got a new Dreadnought. I mean, if he had a Melta originally, he probably would have won over that Blood Crusher. And I'm guessing that's why he got it. Oh man, big Chaos Blob. We had Stormtroopers trying to capture under infiltration, but I think they got hit by a Blastmaster Noise Marine. And oh my god, this is a scary Chaos Blob, especially with this Lightning Claw, Harness of Rage, and Dark Halo Chaos Lord. What can you do against that? You pretty much need to fight everything else. And now, unfortunately, we have the Blood Crusher again, looking like it's going to win over the Dreadnought. Sir Topi, I think, going to lose another Dreadnought. Yeah, especially because there are now 2 Plague Marine squads here, one from CJOKER, one from Ace of Swords. Down goes the Dreadnought. And I think down goes probably the Techmarine. Sir Topi took a lot of losses right there. He was getting doubled. And we have some, I don't know what Max Power is complaining about. But double Bloodletters from Indrid. You know, that's actually, even though the Assault Terminators would definitely win over the double Bloodletters, what is good about the double Bloodletters is that if he teleports them behind a Plasma Cannon Devastator squad, he will wipe it. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of counters to the Bloodletters in the form of this Force Commander with the Thunderhammer, as well as those Assault Terminators. Looks like more is going on right here. Melta, I feel like I haven't actually seen these Melta Stormtroopers take out a vehicle, but they are at level 4. And I mean, he may have just gotten them as insurance, making sure he has something for vehicles. Unfortunately, these Chaos Space Marines, although they really should get a mark, any kind of mark, they're still going to definitely beat Guardsmen quite handily in melee. I think we saw the the Heretics went down for CJOKER from that Lehman Rust now. Alright, looks like things are back to going on over here. Unfortunately, I missed. Apparently, Indrid made some kind of commitment. Probably lost something in the process, but he also definitely took out one of the Devastators. And I mean, with having those double Bloodletters, he probably did just teleport in behind one of those Devastator squads and just straight up took it out with the Bloodletters and just took the losses that he got from the Terminators as well as the Force Commander. But oh, we got a Commissar on top, pointing with his sword out of this Lehman Rust. Now, this Lehman Rust, I think it has a Commissar on top because this is the Death Corps of Krieg DLC. We have a Commissar right here who does have a gas mask, so Death Corps of Krieg. And we have the Emperor's Wrath coming out of Field Marshal Yarrick. That is basically, it basically turns your Commissar into a Manticore. Which, if you think about it, is really, really good. Why wouldn't you want your Commissar to be a Manticore? I mean, I guess what you're giving up is that you're giving up either stubbornness or aura of discipline. So you're either giving up some of the staying power of the Commissar, or you are giving up his ability to support his guardsmen. But still, you're turning your Commissar into a Manticore. We're going to see it right here. The Commissar, with his Manticore strike, he forced off three Chaos Space Marine squads. And by 3 Chaos Space Marine squads, I mean belonging to the faction. I know this is a Plague Marine squad. 3 units from CJOKER. Unfortunately, right now what we see from Yarrick is not quite the right way to use a Stormtrooper squad. Stormtroopers with the Assault Kit, they do have low range. So if you just try charging them at a vehicle, especially a tank, the tank will just back up and start killing your Stormtroopers. And those Stormtroopers are not that tough. Now, this Leman Russ has to be very, very careful. It has upgraded to the Vanquisher Cannon, so that will give it a bit of an advantage over the Chaos Predator. But unfortunately, yes, Yarrick his engagement situation is not giving him an advantage. He had a snared Predator, where he had a snared Leman Russ that also was outnumbered. It was being chased by a Las Cannon Predator, a Blood Crusher, and as well as taking hits from the Plague Marines, and it had partial health, so that was not going to be a winning fight for Yarrick there, as good as that Leman Russ is. Does not deal quite the raw DPS of a Chaos Predator, but it is tougher. It has a 35% damage resistance, and it does actually win head-to-head. But that's head-to-head, assuming no other factors. There, the Chaos Predator one, or I'm not even sure how much the Chaos Predator contributed, but definitely also with the support of that Blood Crusher and the Plague Marines, the Leman Russ did not win there. We should see, yeah, I was going to say, we should see that invulnerability there. Since I mean, to be honest, you actually, in a way, shouldn't even really count on being able to dodge Manticore strikes unless you're playing as Eldar and you can fleet of foot out of there. But especially with all these Chaos units, which pretty much all just have speed 5, you can reasonably expect to actually just get hit by a Manticore, especially if you're blobbing around. But even if you're not, you can expect some of your units to get hit by the Manticore. Unfortunately, too much friendly fire from this Blastmaster from CJOKER. Raptors jumping in from, I think these are Ace of Swords Raptors. These guys have been upgraded to have a Demon Maul. Oh! And I think I missed the rocket run. Or I think I caught it on screen, but I didn't really notice it that much myself. And I think CJOKER is saying lucky because he came very close to losing his 2 Chaos Space Marine squads. There's an Imperial Abyss, and I think that Imperial Abyss took out nothing whatsoever. Although I did just see a Las Cannon snipe one of those Terminator models. Yeah, I think that Imperial Abyss, I think the Imperial Abyss took out the Commissar, but no actual squads. Meanwhile, CJOKER was pretty lucky not to lose any of his Chaos Space Marine models. He said so himself. He had both of them with about 30 health left, I think from a rocket run. Still no mark on them.
Scouts under attack. Brothers, return fire.
Well, we have some infiltrated Stormtroopers. I'm guessing. I wonder if Joker knows. Alright, there the throw goes off, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish it. Not with these Bloodletters about to. These Bloodletters can potentially get in there, and Field Marshal Yarrick just decides to abandon it so he doesn't lose too much from his Stormtroopers. And we see the Plague Champion in a very awkward position. Interesting. Getting the Plague Fist, he apparently had the Bile Spewer. Meanwhile, Indrid is still rocking the Sword of Undeath, and I've been seeing that he's been getting zombies, which is surprising. I mean, the Sword of Undeath, not that it's bad, but I don't know. Usually you just see people get that Plague Fist, and the Plague Fist probably is better overall just in terms of scaling. in the grand scheme of the game, since it can be really good, specifically for countering a lot of Tier 3 infantry-based threats, whereas that's actually precisely what the Sword of Undeath is not quite that good at. Manticore Strike again. That Manticore Strike, even when it's not killing things, it's just scaring things off. Yarrick about to use... Oh no, that's going to be it for that Guardsman squad for Yarrick, I think. Oh no, he's going to get the Commissar out of there? Wow, he does just barely get... Oh no! Wow. A friendly plasma cannon shot from Max Power finishes off Yarrick's Guardsman squad. Very sad there. They had just barely escaped the enemy with 6 health and the Sergeant and the Commissar. And then they get killed by Max Power's Devastator. Anyway, Land Raider Redeemer out from Sir Topi. This big mobile base allows reinforcement. Has to be careful with the Las Cannon Predator right there. Now, the Devastator Marines are going to take shots at the Las Cannon Predator, but the Devastator Marines are also going to get tied up. So they should probably get inside. I mean, to be honest, they should probably get inside the Land Raider, if anything, because they're just going to bleed. Models might even die just with the amazing DPS coming out of that Chaos Lord. Level 7 Chaos Lord, not even surprising. But now here's Yarrick to support with some Stormtroopers, and it's going to be the end of that Predator instead. Alright, so that was actually looking bad for Sir Topi. But Yarrick comes in and saves the day. Unfortunately, CJOKER trying to help out Ace of Swords, but coming in a little late, I think. Not I think, he did come a little late, just as his Predator. Right over here, we have Indrid with some Chaos Terminators. They have put their autocannon on. That autocannon is definitely the kind of thing that I like, because it is such an incredibly safe purchase. It's really hard to go wrong with getting that autocannon, just because of the incredible versatility that you get out of Terminators when they have the autocannon, because they're basically anti-everything. And there goes the Commissar with his Manticore Strike, and I was wondering if we were going to see a nice juicy hit on those Chaos Space Marines. But the players are reacting to those Emperor's Wrath off-map artillery strikes. So good, so good. I mean, it's like your Commissar is a Manticore. Is a Manticore. And now Yarrick has 2 Manticores, so technically he's got 3 Manticores because he also has the Commissar. Ace of Swords calls out the 2 Manticores, and he's saying that they need to take care of them. And there goes another Predator from this Las Cannon. So yeah, again, the Manticore it's really, really good. And it's particularly good in team battles, where the map just gets so congested that you often just can't get to a Manticore to take it out. It's just very, very hard to get to it. And especially you have Yarrick, who is also not being stupid. He's pulling back his Manticores when he thinks they might be in danger. And we have quite a big Terminator fight going on. Indrid's Terminators at almost no health. Lose 1 model, and look at how fast these Assault Terminators are chasing. They're incredibly fast. They're going to take out Indrid's Chaos Terminators. They already burned their teleport, so that's going to be it. And then they'll probably turn around and take out this Noise Marine squad as well. I think that's going to be a wipe on the Noise Marines. Indrid is not paying attention. That is going to be the end of these Noise Marines as well, even if they had retreated. So Indrid just lost 2 units. And here we go with a orbital bombardment. Ooh. Now the orbital bombardment, I personally don't think the orbital bombardment is that great, since it usually does not kill most squads with its beams, and then usually just after a squad gets hit by 1 beam, they just get tossed out to the side, where they're usually fine. Imperial Guard squads do tend to die from that orbital bombardment. And here we go with another Imperial Abyss. I don't think that was actually a good choice. Actually going to take out... Maybe it'll take out Yarrick's Stormtroopers. Again, that was an Imperial Abyss doing not much. The Imperial Abyss is pretty tough to use, and we've seen 2 Imperial Abysses in this game that have done almost nothing. And it's tough because it's The Imperial Abyss was nerfed a bit in the Elite mod. And I don't know, it's weird because I feel like it should still work better than it does because, I mean, at least according to the changelog, the only thing that was changed was that it no longer hooks retreating units and it has a slightly longer delay. But it still just seems to be quite a bit worse than it was in retail. Ooh, there goes the Techmarine. Alright, Techmarine gets revived by Commissar Yarrick. Yarrick now with some Castricans out on the field, so Yarrick is definitely rocking some major range DPS in the form of the Castricans. He's also got some Stormtroopers, level 4 Stormtroopers. Leveled pretty much everything. Except for the Castricans as well as his second Manticore. He even has a level 4 Manticore. His original Manticore is level 4, has over 400 hit points. That is going to be nasty. Going to be doing absolutely nasty things to anything that actually gets hit by it without just retreating. We even have the Cyclone missile launcher on max powers Terminators, and you know, at this point it's the red team obviously has had the lead in VPs for quite a bit of the game, but they have not been able to deal with these Manticores, and I think the Manticores are a big thing that are putting the blue team back in the game. It's just too much, because if it's not killing units, then it's forcing them off the squads off the field because they're retreating to not get utterly screwed by Manticore strikes. And artillery is often can be pretty important in teams because you need something. You have these huge blobs, these huge 3-player blobs in team games, and artillery is good for hitting them hard from long range so that you don't just lose everything on approach. Now, Imperial Guard is obviously better at that than any other race, whereas I think Chaos is probably the worst at that. And we have a Plague Cloud right here, but Yarrick is not going to lose any of these guys because he's activated None Shall Fall from the Fist of Brachus, so none of those guardsmen will die. They will take health damage. And we have a Great Unclean One trying to come in here. And Indrid has apparently lost everything. Or not everything, but we have a Great Unclean One right here. Unfortunately, it's taking too much range fire. And here's yet another Imperial Abyss. This might actually... Oh! Alright, that one did some stuff. I think in part because the mines were there from Yarrick. But it looks like he lost to one squad or so. And Indrid has lost most of his stuff. So that Imperial Abyss Oh, and here we go with the Great Unclean One. That Imperial Abyss combined with those mines actually did quite well. The game was apparently pretty laggy, but it's not looking good for the red team. Losing a lot of units, losing a Great Unclean One. Indrid losing most of his army. Ace of Swords also losing most of his army. Here we go with more Terminators. Max Power has his 3rd squad of Terminators. 2 Assault and 2 Ranged. 2 Ranged. I think 1 is inside the... Oh, but here we go with... this is CJOKER chasing down the Manticores with his autocannon Terminators. Now again, this is one of the great things about the autocannon Terminators, just their ability to, I mean, even take out vehicles, their ability to take out vehicles because they can really take out everything. They're really, really good against pretty much everything. He got 1 Manticore, and it looks like he's going for the other one. Manticore is driving away. He destroys a node on the way there. Unfortunately, he's running out of time. Looks like he's going to actually go for the... Oh, no, he's going to get hit by the Commissar. He's still going for the Manticore, I think. I mean, these ninja Terminators just going behind enemy lines, Unfortunately, I think he might ultimately lose them, and they don't have the cap back yet. So clock is ticked for them. He puts Touch of Nurgle on them to go for this last Manticore, and he's going to actually take out this Manticore, but they're not going to win the game, I think. Yeah, he's going to lose. He's going to take out the Manticore. Oh, wow, even teleports in. Look at that. And he takes out the Manticore, but unfortunately, I think they are going to lose the game. So he killed the Manticores, and they actually have managed to stall the VPs out 108 to 11. It's a 1-to-1 cap. Unfortunately, I don't think these Plague Marines are going to finish for Ace of Swords. They actually get knocked off by the Whirlwind. The Whirlwind of all things actually putting in work. So I think that's actually going to be it, because they have... The blue team is going to get this VP back, and I don't think the red team is going to get the middle VP in time. Not with Heretics of all units, not with Mines here, not with Terminators here. And yeah, that's got to be the game.
This victory will long be remembered in the halls of glory.
All right, that was the cast. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.